Alright, so this recipe today is going to take quite a while. So I'm not going to do this live. I'm going to kind of break it down and give you the cliff notes. I'm going to make a meatloaf with homemade breadcrumbs from croutons that are made from frying bacon grease. I'm going to make a bacon ranch potato salad. I have a garden salad in the refrigerator. And I'm going to make butter and cinnamon butternut squash oven roasted. Quite a bit of things. Start with cutting the potatoes. Alright, so this is going to be a rather non-conventional potato salad. Because I know that most people, when they think of potato salad, they think of yellow potato salad that has eggs in it, it's made with mustard, and has paprika, which is not the case here. I don't eat eggs, and I would rather not smell eggs. So anyway, I'm going to cut these down into a regular potato salad size potato. I've got water in my pot. I'm going to cut all those down to be right about the same size. Alright, so now that you got all your potatoes cutting in the water, sorry, can't turn it over, it's a little high. Turn that up on high heat, bring it to a boil, a little bit of salt. Never want to oil your water, you always want to put salt in the water. Bring that to a boil, let those boil for about 30-45 minutes depending on how tender you want your potatoes to be. Alright, so this is the bread that I'm going to use for breadcrumbs. It's actually pretty hard on the inside. I might not be able to even fry these in bacon grease. We will find out. This is my bowl that I use to mix my meatloaf in, to which any breadcrumbs that come off of this cutting board are going in there. Fresh breadcrumbs. Had this piece of bread for about 5 or 6 days. They don't particularly keep all that well, but they're good for doing this. Cut up your own croutons, make your own breadcrumbs. So I will hurry up and cut these, and then we will go and check on the bacon to where these are going to go into the bacon before they get ground up and put into the meatloaf. Yeah, good times. And as you can see over here, I've got some bacon frying. However, I have another package of bacon I'm going to open once I get done here. I'm going to fry up, probably going to end up frying the whole package of bacon because I'll use the bacon for other things. But for this, you're probably only going to need about 1 strip of bacon per potato. So I got 5 potatoes in that pot because I got 5 people eating, so I'm going to need 5 potatoes for the potato salad, and then the other bacon will be for other things. Alright, potatoes are finally boiling. Turn them down so they don't make a mess out of your stove, huh? Keep frying the bacon. We're getting to the good part. Alright, so once I'm done frying my bacon, to which I only cooked 7 pieces. However, I'm going to take my bread. Mind you, this is several day old sourdough. This is a sandwich roll that we had chicken salad sandwiches on earlier this week on one of them, and the other one didn't get used, so I'm using it here. They were on sale 3 for $1. So once you get your bread in the grease, and you kind of want to just continuously keep turning to make sure you're not burning, so that all sides get covered equally. Because you want all that bacon grease flavor to soak up into this bread. And then I'm going to chop this bread up, and I'm going to use it for breadcrumbs in my meatloaf. So that should be quite tasty. This is a relatively quick process. It's like about as fast as you can turn them is about how fast they need to be turned once the pan's good and hot with the bacon grease. Because you see they start to toast up real quick. That's all the more you want them to do. You don't want to burn them. You just want to toast them in the bacon grease. Alright, now once you got these brown on all sides, definitely want to get something to drain them on. Because although the grease is going to give it flavor, you don't necessarily want all that grease in your meatloaf. what I'm going to do is continue browning bread squares, excuse me, until all that grease is gone, into which this is actually going to be a dual purpose item. Not only is it going to be breadcrumb for the meatloaf, it is going to be crouton for the salad that I have in the refrigerator. But I apologize, I did not show you my salad. I'll show it to you later once we get to that point. But these are also going to be croutons. Tasty stuff. Alright, so once you can stick your fork in your taters and it falls right off, turn off the water, just move them from the heat. They can hang out there for a minute. So, not the end of the world. So I now am going to just cut these up into breadcrumbs. Chop them down. Those are nice, warm, crispy, bacon grease fried. So I'm going to continue cutting these up until they are all in the bowl. And I'll catch you when I start mixing the meatloaf. Alright, so before I get going on mixing my actual meatloaf, I'm going to preheat my oven 400 degrees. I'm starting with 1 pound of 93.7 lean because I'm using a sausage with it. Excuse me, otherwise you could use an 80-20. I prefer the fat content to be a little bit lower with the meatloaf so that it's not in so much grease at the end of it. I know you pull it out of it, but when I use ground beef, or excuse me, when I use sausage in my meatloaf, I use a leaner ground beef. So this is Johnsonville Italian hot sausage, 1 pound. Peel the paper off the bottom of it in like 14 pieces because that is Johnsonville. Alright, keep in mind the breadcrumbs are already in there. All that off of there. Alright, need 1 egg. On top of the pre-seasoned meat, I'm going to add just a little bit of black pepper. I think black pepper makes everything better. Some grated Parmesan cheese. And some cheddar and pepper jack. Wipe the pepper off of my hands here. Right, so this cheese is going to go right into the mix, about a handful. You can use more, use less. It's entirely your call. Now I got to mix this together until it's got a good consistency between the breadcrumbs, the egg, the cheese, the ground beef, and the Italian sausage. And this will take you a little while. However, the more you work this meat together, the better the texture is going to be. I mean, you kind of want to knead it like it's bread dough, in a sense that like you just got to keep pushing it and folding it, pushing it and folding it, and eventually it becomes consistent. And it's at that point you want to form a football out of it, give or take. This takes a little bit. As you can see, I can still see the difference between the sausage and the ground beef in there. And like with anything, you want consistency throughout the meatloaf. You want it to taste the same on everybody's plate, on every bite. Anyway, keep repeating this for a handful of minutes until you get your desired consistency. Alright, once you got your meatloaf ready, stick it in the oven. 400 degrees, 1 hour. That's all it needs. Alright, while I'm continuing for my oven to preheat, I've got cinnamon butternut chunks that these were on sale this week for $3.49 with a $3 off coupon. So this was a nice little addition to dinner tonight. The butternut squash. It's been pre-cut, but it's still raw. Excuse me. So I'm going to put that in this little roasting dish here, which that should be plenty deep because you need quite a bit of the heat to get around that. And these will probably cook about the same amount of time as the meatloaf, but I'm going to use, I wipe my thumb, I'm going to put some of this Truvia nectar, which is a it's a lower calorie, lower carbohydrate alternative to honey. It's made with honey and stevia. Seeing as this is a dessert dish, I would like the missus to be able to partake in this, because I mean you could eat this with your dinner, but let's be honest, once this is done cooking with all this and it's all mixed together and everything is good to go, this is going to be probably the this will be the sweet thing on the plate. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of these little packets of the Truvia nectar, and then I'm going to throw those in the oven at the same 400 degrees for the same amount of time as the meatloaf. You just want them to get good and soft. Maybe take them out and stir them once or twice to make sure everything is evenly done. Bang. Tell me that wasn't 49 cents well spent, huh? I'm now going to start working on my potato salad now that my potatoes have been drained and have cooled off. I'm going to put a whole bunch of just hand-torn little pieces of bacon in with these potatoes here. Okay, this is 5 potatoes, which is give or take for 5 people. So I'm going to put 5 pieces of bacon in here with ranch dressing and a cheesy Italian dressing combination. And I'm going to stir it all together and put it in the refrigerator to cool off. There's 4 pieces. You can't be stingy with the bacon. I mean, if you're stingy with the bacon, what else are you stingy with? You know what I mean? It's bacon. There's always more at the store. So, ranch dressing. Everybody loves ranch dressing. Everybody's kids will eat ranch dressing. So, ranch dressing, bacon, and potatoes. Okay? Can't go wrong with it. If you find somebody who won't eat this, they probably don't have any decent taste in food. Well, that's just me. A little bit of this cheesy Italian. Stir. And again, like I said, this isn't your this is not your traditional potato salad with eggs in it. This is my take excuse me, on a potato salad. So you can see there's plenty of extra dressing down in the bottom. Once you get everything stirred around, that'll be alright, because you're going to put a lid on this and you're going to put this in the refrigerator until the meatloaf and the acorn squash are done. And by that time, the dressing that is on these potatoes will have soaked into the potatoes and they'll be dry on the surface, at which time you need to stir it again and it'll be a perfect consistency. Put a lid on it, put it in the fridge. Now this is something right here. Granted, it's a Friday and I've got the whole family coming over. So the idea is to make enough food this evening so that there is leftovers for everybody to eat over the weekend. So I found this here. I generally would never buy this pre-seasoned, pre-buttered garlic bread, but when it's on sale for $1.49 and it has a dollar off coupon on it, and you can get it for 49 cents, even if that's something you eat later this evening, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to get eaten with dinner, but for 49 cents, I'd have been a fool to pass it up. However, I'm going to give it a little bit of a different treatment than it currently has. I go right back to my Grill Mates roasted garlic and herb. This one's not even open yet because I go through so many of these things. I go through about one of these every other week. Yeah, McCormick's Grill Mates. Alright, so I'm going to go over the top of that. the roasted garlic and herb seasoning. And I'm going to add another layer of Parmesan cheese to it, just because I can. This you can either bake in the oven. You can put it in there at the same temperature of the meatloaf and just check on it when it starts to get brown. Or while you're waiting for the meatloaf to cool, you can turn the broiler on that thing and then watch it under the broiler to make sure you don't burn it. A little bit more Parmesan cheese. There you go. Alright, so at this point you take your football out of the oven, let it sit on your cutting board for at least 10 to 15 minutes before you cut it, so that it, excuse me, it'll rest properly and maintain its juices. The acorn squash is all good and tasty. I got that bread just chilling in the oven. Coming along, getting there. Alright, so once you get your meatloaf out, you let it sit, you cut it. Tasty, juicy goodness inside of there. Acorn squashes are done. Garlic bread needs to be cut, and the salad is on the table. So I'm not going to bother to show you a salad, but there was the meatloaf, there was those, and then you saw the potato salad. Perhaps I will put together a plate. Alright, there we go. Meatloaf, bacon ranch, and creamy Italian pasta salad. A little bit of honey butternut squash, and some garlic bread. I'm going to go get a salad, and you guys can fuck off while I eat.